All right, well, there are new reports that calls for the resignation of Eric Holder doubled overnight. There's now 8 members of Congress, who are calling for him to resign amid the controversial gun-running operation known as Fast and Furious. Meanwhile, Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano was grilled on what she knew about this operation and when she knew it. Watch.
How is it that you can make a claim that the border is now more secure than ever, and yet the Obama administration purposely allows nearly 2,000 guns to be released, knowing that they're going to go to Mexico with hundreds of people killed by those weapons, 2 dead U.S. agents, and yet you don't even know if we've detected even one of those guns? In fact, on January 14th, you did detect somebody in New Mexico. There were 8 guns found. They didn't even run a trace on them, and you let those guns go into Mexico. I find that absolutely stunning. And for you to have 2 dead agents and to have never had a conversation with Eric Holder about Fast and Furious and about this area is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable.
The gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman
Mr. Chairman, I know Representative Chaffetz has his opinion on this matter, as the tone of his question reveals, but I simply would suggest that no one takes the deaths of agents more seriously than I. And also that one of the reasons that we have not directly dealt with the Attorney General on this is he very quickly and appropriately put this matter in the hands of the Inspector General.
All right. Well, that Republican congressman joins me now. Jason Chaffetz is on the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. Congressman, welcome. Good to have you here.
Thanks, Martha.
First question about this. A couple of weeks ago, you said that you felt the focus was not really on Homeland Security, that it should be on DOJ and ATF. So I guess that raises one question here, is why, in the course of this hearing, did you go after Janet Napolitano if you think that, it doesn't really lie in Homeland Security?
Well, the more we get these documents, the more they reveal that, wait a sec, Homeland Security did have an agent detailed. And what I was really shocked about is when I asked her, when did you ever talk to Eric Holder about this? She said never. And I thought, my goodness, here you have Brian Terry, who's killed on December 14th. And yet she says the reason she didn't talk to Eric Holder is because the Attorney General immediately put an investigator on this. That's just not true. That investigator didn't get put into place, or Inspector General didn't get put in place until the end of February. So what happened during those nearly 3 months? She has 2 dead agents during that time frame, and she never once calls the person who's in charge of the operation where the guns had found at the scene of these dead agents. That's just unbelievable to me, and that's new information.
Yeah. So, and were you able to press her on that? Why once she did learn about it, what she did then, what action she took once she did learn about it?
Well, she said that they didn't know it was tied to Fast and Furious. That, too, is not true, because the agents at the scene where the death occurred, they did an immediate trace because they found guns there, and they were immediately identified as guns from Fast and Furious. So she testified before our committee, when I asked her a question, that she said that she didn't know that they had been done with Fast and Furious. That is absolutely not true. The week before, she testified before Senator Grassley and said that there had been no forensics. That's simply not true. And so now it just continues to balloon and snowball, and you just figure, is it a degree of incompetence, a cover-up? Where is this? And these questions are still unanswered.
All right. My next question for you regards Eric Holder. The Daily Caller came out with a piece this morning. They say that the number doubled overnight in terms of congressmen and women who are calling for his resignation. And your reaction to that, and does that have any pull, any power with someone who serves at the pleasure of the president?
Well, look, I think the single most important thing we need to do is have Eric Holder come back before the Oversight Committee. I think Darrell Issa has done a wonderful job with this. Judiciary is also involved. I believe he's next scheduled to go before the United States Senate, but I want him to be held accountable. The president said in March that there were going to be people held accountable, and more that looks like it's Eric Holder and Janet Napolitano, and those people need to be accountable, and the president needs to hold them accountable.
Have you asked him, there's also some discrepancy, when he spoke at the May 3rd hearing, and he said a couple of weeks ago he learned about it, that really triggered so much of this investigation. Why would he not have known about something? Then we saw the emails and the memos that came out that showed that he knew, he had been at least, CC'd on those memos, or the memos were sent to him that talked about Fast and Furious well before that date. But then in a follow-up question to him from you, it talks about when the president learned about it in March, and he says, well, my guess is I probably learned about it before the president. So that messes with that timeline a little bit, doesn't it?
Well, he's never clarified this. He's had plenty of opportunities to tell us what he knew and when. But you have literally the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security saying, we didn't know anything about it. And yet, this is an operation where we let thousands of guns go purposely into the hands of bad guys. The Mexican government is telling us there are near over 200 deaths at these guns. We got two dead agents, and you have two on the Mexican side of the border, and you have 2 dead U.S. agents, and you have 2 cabinet-level secretaries saying, we didn't know.
Congressman,
That
we got to go.
does
So
not-
I just need a
doesn't pass
very
muster.
quick thought on this because we didn't get to touch on it. But Hillary Clinton was questioned about this by Congressman Mack, whether or not the State Department should have had some involvement with the crossing of the border of these weapons. You know, where do you think that's going to go? Very briefly, if you can.
Well, the secretary said she didn't know. This has been a high-profile case with thousands of guns going into Mexico. We're part of the Oversight and Reform Committee. How does this happen, and how does Hillary Clinton not know anything? Who knows what's going on there? These questions will continue to be pressed by us in the House.